Hello YouTube, my name is Teacher Joel, and today I wanted to make a video talking about my personal VIPKid journey. I want to tell you a little bit about why I got started, why I'm still doing it, and why I think you should join me. So stick around. Okay, first things first, why did I get started? Well, about a year ago, I read this book, The Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. If you're not familiar, I can pretty much sum it up for you in just a couple words. Debt is dumb. Side note, you should really read it. Anywho, with that idea in mind, my wife and I began a financial journey. Now, we're both teachers, so we can't really expect any kind of bonuses or any kind of big raises. If we want our income to go up, it means that we have to hustle. And by hustle, of course, I mean side hustle. So here I am, and I'm really wanting to get aggressive about paying down debt and trying to figure out good ways to do that, when a coworker of mine mentions that he's participating in this program called VIPKid, Very Important Person Kid. So I ask him well, what is this about? And he says, well, basically I get up at 4:30 every morning, and before I come to school, I teach kids in China how to speak English. You can kind of imagine what my questions are. There's 2 4:30s in a day. Have you actually gotten paid? Is this legit? How do you communicate with these kids? I know you don't speak Chinese. How do you know what to teach? Is it worth it? I'm going to answer these questions in a minute, so hang with me. But I promise to tell my story, so let me cover that first. After talking to my coworker a little bit, I decided to give it a try. Remember, we're in full debt attack mode, so I'm thinking anything is better than nothing. Well, with a little help from YouTube and my coworker, who has now become my referring teacher, I got through the hiring process without any kind of hitches, no trouble, and I actually got offered one of the higher base pay rates. And so my journey began, and it was awesome. I actually started getting bookings pretty quickly. You'll hear some people talk about how their bookings kind of were slow at first, but for me it wasn't too bad, and I think part of that probably has to do with my iMovie skills. I was able to put together a pretty good video, and I think that's a big part of getting those initial bookings, especially when you don't have any kind of ratings or regulars or anything like that. So I taught for about 6 months or so, and I was teaching pretty regularly. I of course bumped it up in the summer when I had some spare time, and it was great. I mean, I got paid just the way I would expect to get paid. The extra income was extremely helpful. And then in about September of last year, in September of last year, my wife and I welcomed our baby girl into the world. And so I took a little bit of time off while we adjusted to our new schedule in the mornings so that I'd be available to help my wife. Well, 2020 rolled around, and the debt was gone. We had accomplished what we set out to do, and of course VIPKid had been a huge part of that. But here I am, I'm still doing it. As you can see, I'm standing in a newly made classroom right here in a corner of our house, and now I'm talking to you about it. So the question you're probably wanting to ask, if you don't have to do it, why are you doing it? The short answer is because it's great. It's something that I highly recommend to anybody who's looking for an extra source of income or just looking to make a difference in some kids' lives. Now let's get back to those questions. Are you going to get paid? Is this legit? Yes, you are, and yes, it is. How do you communicate with these kids? Unsurprisingly, I do not speak Chinese at all. So how do you communicate with these kids? Largely through a system called TPR, which just stands for Total Physical Response. You'll use a lot of hand motions to elicit responses. For instance, if I want a student to repeat something I've said, I would point at my mouth, and as I speak, they know to listen to what I'm saying. And then I would cup my hand to my ear, and they know that it's their turn to repeat what I've just said. It's also important to remember that by the time you get to the student, they've already done some work, so they know these things in advance. They usually know how the classroom works, and they're able to at least get through these lessons. Which brings me to the next question you probably want answered. How do you know what to teach? Here's the awesome part. All the lessons are pre-made. They're a set of slides, usually around 25 to 30 slides, and you just work through them with the student. The classes are about 25 minutes long, so as you can imagine, that's about 1 minute, maybe a little less per slide. And the students understand how these slides work, and it's pretty simple to get through them. So all in all, it doesn't really take a lot of planning on your end prior to class. Now, I do recommend that you look over the slides prior to class, gather some specific props that would relate to the lesson, but you're not actually starting from scratch the way you might in a classroom setting. And of course, the last question, is it worth it? You can pretty much guess my response to that. Yes, 100% this is worth it. Even if you don't love it, there is no harm in trying. I highly recommend you at least give this a try. I mean, that's what I did. I didn't really know how I was going to feel about it, but I went for it anyway, and it has been magnificent. So what do you need to do? I would love to help you through the process of getting hired, getting on, getting started with VIPKid. If you'll look down in the description below, you'll find a link, and that will take you to my landing page with VIPKid, where you can start the sign up process. If you do that, I want you to email me at eslteacherjoel@gmail.com and let me know you did. And then we can start communicating, and I can help you get through this process. If you've already started the sign up process, but you don't have a referring teacher, you can find my code down in the description below, and you can add that to your application. Then I will become your referring teacher, and if you just email me and let me know that you did that, then I can help you get through this process. If you can't figure out how to do that, I'm also willing to help you figure that out. Whatever it takes, I just want as many people as possible to enjoy this amazing program the way that I've enjoyed it. All right, and I guess that just about wraps it up. So until next time, goodbye.